This week on the TT Show, we ring in the new year with a massive dose of CES 2024 news. GeForce RTX 40 Super Series GPUs are official and around the corner. New CPUs and GPUs from AMD. All of the new amazing OLED displays. MSI's Intel gaming handheld. Sony, Nintendo, AI, and so much more. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the TT Show. My name is Jack Connor. I'm a hardware editor over at Tweaktown, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Kosta Andriadis, gaming hardware editor at Tweaktown.
Man, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And I mean, CES has just been so
Yeah,
hectic
I'm lost for words as well.
I've forgotten about Christmas, and New Year's.
The last 2 days have been a slog. I've been in, and as you have been as well, in the trenches of the news. Starting without words is, I feel, appropriate for the amount of stories that we have gotten through. But today we're going to try and condense.
Scratch the surface. We're
going to scratch the surface of the announcements. We're going to try and cover what we consider some of the biggest news of the show. It's still going as we're recording. So by the time that you're hearing this, there will be another ton of more announcements, and I'm guessing we're going to pick up on those next week. So for the next few episodes, expect a lot of CES coverage. There is a lot to cover. I've got 10 stories just on the OLEDs that have come out. We do 10 stories in one episode.
Do you think that this CES has been more crazy for news compared to previous ones? Because of AI, PCs, and new stuff, it just seems like everybody's just gone all out. Just
a teaser for if you make it far enough into the episode. There's an AI grill. We'll talk about that later, but just saying that's how much AI has infiltrated the show. It is in everything from your vacuum cleaners to your grills to like little robots that greet you at the door when you get home.
Yeah. LG's AI robot.
Yeah. Or Samsung's Bally. Yeah. But
AI's nuts.
Before we get into all of the fun announcements and the little robotics and all of that, let's jump into the NVIDIA stuff. Lay it on me. I have not read any of this at all because I've been covering my own stuff. So you're going to have to fill me in on what's new here.
Yeah. So this is basically building on everything that has been rumored that we've talked about last year, which is NVIDIA's super refresh for the 40 series GPUs. And it's all official. So basically at CES, NVIDIA announced 3 new GPUs, the GeForce RTX 4070 Super, the GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super, and the GeForce RTX 4080 Super. Now, the key thing to, remember or to know with this is that the 4080 Super is replacing the existing 4080. The 4070 Ti Super is replacing the existing 4070 Ti. So those two GPUs are end of life, basically. So these are the new ones. These are replacing them as beefed up versions. The RTX 4070 Super isn't replacing the 4070. The 4070 is getting a price drop by $50 US, and this is replacing the 4070 at the existing price point of $599. Now, running through them, I'll start with the 4070 Super. So the 4070 Super has 20% more cores than the existing 4070.
Wow.
It is, for 1440p gaming, NVIDIA is claiming that it's faster than the GeForce RTX 3090, which was a $1,500 GPU. And this isn't increasing the price. It's 20% more performance, potentially, without increasing the price, pushing it into super high-end gaming. And the 4070 has been is the most popular desktop GPU from the 40 series. So this one is going to be huge, I think.
So is it just quickly, sorry, is this new 4070 will be right on the edge of mid-range into high-end? That's where it's going to sit?
I would call it high-end. For 1440p, I'd call this high-end.
Yeah.
I would. What's really cool is that we'll play it on here now is that there's 2 unboxing videos. So obviously I can't talk about performance or anything like that, but the 4070 Super Founders Edition and a Twin X2 model from Inno3D are basically dual slot, 2-fan sort of like cards. So they're compact form factor, and the power usage is roughly the same as the 4070. It's only like a 20 watt increase, but NVIDIA says the average gaming power is still around about 200 watts. So you're looking at like 3090 level performance for like a fraction of the power usage. And you can have this is basically, could be one of the first sort of like high-end sort of GPUs that isn't gigantic, if you know what I mean.
That's perfect.
That isn't like 3.5 slots, triple fans. Even though there will be those models for this,
of
if you
course,
want to overclock and stuff like that. But
AIVs
you'll be able to get
will do that.
Yeah, that's right. So you'll be able to get a 4070 Super that's at a decent size, and it's pretty exciting. Like they haven't really showed like too much in terms of performance, but they did say like that better than 3090 is without DLSS 3 frame generation. When you put frame generation in, then it pushes performance even higher. But based on the stats, it's it puts the 4070 into a tier that should be noticeably more faster than AMD's 7800 XT, which is kind of like in that same sort of price range. And this will be so it has more RT cores and tensor cores, so it would be better at ray tracing. So it'd be really interesting to see the reviews for this, or my own reviews.
I want to see your
next week.
I want to see your performance.
Next week we'll go through it.
Yeah,
so this one is launching first, January 17. So we'll park this one for now because next week we'll talk about it in detail. So this one's launching January 17, $599.
Okay.
Let's go to the 4070 Ti Super. So this is replacing the existing 4070 Ti. It increases the memory to 16 gig from 12 gig on a 256-bit bus, and for increased memory bandwidth, and it still maintains under the 300 watts power because of the 40 series has incredible power efficiency, and it has beefier specs than the 4070 Ti. So, and it's maintaining the same price, $799 US. And this one's launching a week later after than that, on January 24th. So this is NVIDIA says that this is definitely 4K gaming capable card.
For sure.
By that, they mean 60 FPS 4K gaming.
That's why it's got the extra GDDR6X.
That's right. Yeah. So 16 gig will mean that it's pretty good for 4K gaming, as well as at 1440p, you'll be pushing NVIDIA say 144 FPS plus.
Wow.
So you'll be pushing you'll be pushing high. To be honest, the 4070 Ti was one of my favorites of the 40 series. I only got to test one of them, which was on MSI one. And that's because it was, the average gaming power usage, NVIDIA says here for this one is 226 watts, and from mine was about 250 watts, and it was pushing faster than 3090 level performance, whereas this one will be basically faster than the 3090 Ti. It'll be it'll be right up there. And so that's a pretty cool. They've I guess is that what they're doing with the Super Series is they're increasing performance without increasing pricing.
Yeah. Which is gamers are rejoicing.
Which is win-win.
No, of course.
And the biggest win is with the 4080 Super. So this was replacing the existing 4080, which has an MSRP of $1,199, which made it not probably one of the least popular of the 40 series cards, because at that price, if you got that sort of money to spend on a GPU, go all out for the 4090, right?
Yeah.
So with the 4080 Super, they're beefing up the specs. It's got the fastest memory in any GPU.
Wow.
The 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory is 23 gigabits per second sort of speed, which is some of the fastest memory available in a current GPU. And it's got more cores for ray tracing and AI. And this one is a 4K card.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh, it has to be.
And NVIDIA says average gaming power usage of 246 watts. It's a 320 watt rated card, just like the existing 4080. The 4080 is no more. But the big thing is that this is going to be more powerful than the 4080, but it's coming in at $200 cheaper, $999. So
Yeah.
under $1,000 is the MSRP. So this is going to be a pretty exciting. It's almost like a relaunch for the 4080 is what it feels like. Because if you remember, like in the 30 series, everybody talked about the 3080, right? The 3080 was the card. The 3080 was, it's the card everybody wanted. With the 40 series, it's just basically been 4090 or 4070.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Like the 4070 Ti, sure. But yep, now with the 4080 Super, I think it's going to hit that sort of like, it is notably cheaper than the 4090, but it's not going to be too dramatically slower. I mean, the 4090 will definitely is still faster, right? But this is like a fully unlocked version of this chip.
This is the 4080 at its peak potential.
At its absolute peak, yeah. So this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So NVIDIA came with a lot of stuff. So obviously there's going to be cards from Asus, Colorful, Gainwood, Galax, Gigabyte, Inno3D, MSI, Palette, PNY, Zotac. Everybody's going to be releasing super cards. They showcased 2 Founders Edition models. And if you know the Founders Edition cards, they look slick.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, the Founders Edition are my favorite cards, easily.
So the Founders Editions for the 4070, 4080 are all black metal. So actually just...
Matte black everything.
We'll just do like a quick pause because I'll just go pick up the 4070 Super because I can show it. I'll just show it to you. Yeah. Just to get your reaction.
Yeah, go on.
All right, so the 4070 Super.
Show me the card, dude. I can't...
And if you see like the metal is all black.
Look at that.
It is probably the best
yes.
looking GPU. And you see like it's 2 slots still.
Oh, it's tiny. Can you put your hand up next to it just to give a bit of a... Yeah, wow. Like it's not that much. Like it's probably another half of your hand, right?
Yeah. The 4090, like that is like 2.5 times the size.
I know, it's obnoxious. That is gorgeous.
Just an absolute, like, in just like all black because all the previous founders for the 30 series and the 40 series have been that sort of like chrome and different colors of like silver and stuff like that.
It's all gunmetal, like gunmetal gray and stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is kind of like matte black.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
I love it.
I was like, well, as soon as I opened the box, I'm like, oh man.
Oh, that's some nice tech right there. Now that's awesome. I love that. I love that they went black.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like the Black Superman or something like that. It's like the good guys have gone to the dark and now they're just super powerful cards. They don't care anymore. They're like, let's go. What else do we have on the menu there?
That's 3. Yeah, so basically 3 new GPUs coming this month, very, very soon. So, there's some performance data that they've shown, but basically it means that, with the 4080 Super, when they say 4K, like, you got Alan Wake 2 with full ray tracing, which is notoriously it's just, and Portal with RTX and Cyberpunk with path tracing. All those games are getting with DLSS frame gen are getting like close to 100 FPS on it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
At 4K, which is like bananas.
That's what you want.
And then like other games like triple digits and stuff like that. Like everything is just like pushing in really impressive performance. But yeah, like the 4070 Super, is able to do the exact same thing for those games at 1440p, which is impressive. Like, so I'll definitely be testing Cyberpunk at with path tracing and Alan Wake 2 to see what it can do at 1440p. And you sort of like if a small card like that is capable of doing all that stuff, then it's pretty exciting.
Oh yeah,
the 4070 was good, like because it was like 3080 level performance, way more efficient and cheaper. Whereas this is doing that same thing but for like 3090 plus level performance. It's going to be pretty exciting.
And for cheaper, man, like it's just impressive. It's so impressive how much they can just squeeze out of these chips when they really need to. Like it's like this is a refresh, right?
Yeah.
This would be a
that's right.
refresh. But this would be, it's not even a soft refresh. This is hard. This is like, let's see exactly let's see how much we can get out of all these chips. Let's put them at peak.
That's right. Which makes me think that the next gen won't be coming till next year.
Yeah.
Because, usually it's like a 2-year cadence. So like if we go by the 2-year cadence, then the 5090 will launch like in September of this year or October with a 5080 in September, October. And I don't think they'll do that. I don't
No, because
they
got to get rid of all their stock first. Like think about how many cards that they've made, and
but even so, like they're going to launch with their most powerful GPU, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like I still think there is no need for a 4090 replacement yet.
Or nothing's really calling for it, right? There's no game that's like crushing the 4090.
Yeah, it's not like it's like pushing the 4090 back down to 1080p or anything like that.
And it's not like there's also 4K TVs are being like everyone's got a 4K TV right now. It's been long enough, but no one's gaming at native 4K with all of the settings on. Like we looked at the Steam charts. There's not a lot of people. People are now right now, currently are transitioning from 1080p to 1440p. Because the 1440p monitors have gotten cheaper and the graphics cards powering them and all the other components as well have gotten cheaper. SSDs, etc., etc. So I feel like once we're in that 1440p, what would you call it? Stage.
That's the sweet spot.
Stage.
Yeah.
Then we'll start to see those replacements for the 4090 because I don't know. There's nothing calling for it. There's no game that's out like, oh, I wish I had a stronger card.
Yeah, I think the 4080 Super will like let's say you picked up a 4080 Super at launch. Like obviously I don't know what the performance is, but based on the existing 4080 and this being like cheaper and being, more capable, pushing some of the performance, like that's going to, like if you picked one up, like you're going to be set for like gaming for the next 3-4 years minimum. Easily, I think. Right.
I think easily.
And same with like the 4070 Super. Easy.
Especially with all the frame generation tech as well. Like that's only going to get better. So if you have if you have you're right. If you have one of these cards, like I don't know, DLSS is like rolling out updates and new iterations, and every iteration gets better. You get more performance. So it's like effectively NVIDIA is giving you money back for free because you're not required to go out and get that new GPU that's to play the new, for all intents and purposes, Crisis game that has come out. What would you say the last Crisis level game was? Cyberpunk?
Yeah, and Alan Wake, I guess, for pushing hardware.
I also don't think Cyberpunk could even really be used in that because it launched so rocky. Like it was genuinely unstable.
Yeah. Oh, it ran okay if you had a high-end GeForce GPU. Because remember before the game launched when they were showing how awesome like certain bits when they were cherry. Oh
yeah, when everyone pre-ordered the game,
cinematics and like action scenes, and when they were cherry picking that stuff, that was all running on high-end GeForce hardware, and that's how I played it at launch. And on PC, yes, it was buggy, and there were things that weren't available in the game, but visually and in terms of immersion, like there was good stuff in there. But the thing is, like to me at launch, I thought it was a good game, but if I played it at launch on an Xbox or PlayStation, I would say no.
You would have cried.
This is like I'll come back in like months. Or whatever.
Why did CD Projekt Red take my money from me and not give me a game?
Yeah. And obviously, like it's all about games, right? So if you pick up a super GPU and you want to play like the highest end visual games, NVIDIA announced at CES that Horizon Forbidden West, the PS5 technical showcase, like that game looks stunning on PS5. They released a new trailer for PC, and with DLSS 3 frame gen, and pushing the visual detail even higher than the PS5 version, you're going to be getting triple digit performance on all of the super GPUs at 4K and 1440p.
Yeah.
So it's going to look incredible on these cards.
I'm so excited for these cards. Yeah, this is cool to watch them just peak out the 40 series as much as they possibly can. Is that about all you had on that? Should we try and move on to...
Yeah, and because you're talking about displays, let's kick into the hundreds and thousands of displays that they announced for CES.
I just started to get tired because of how much display news.
All right, which, I mean, obviously...
What are my favorites? Should I do
not in order of best to worst, but like just go through some of the favorites. Like what are the cool stuff that I should be drooling over? Because I need a new display, by the way.
Okay, you need a new display. Do you want a super ultra wide? Because everyone's releasing super ultra wides.
I've seen them. Yeah, these are the.
Everyone is coming out with one.
Yeah. They're 49-inch ones, right?
Yeah, all 40 inch.
QHD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 49 inch or
Yeah, I saw all those. Yeah, and I'm like, maybe I need to go for that because I've been rocking the 34-inch ultra wides for a while. You know, like 34. You know, the 21:9. These are all 32
glorious.
by 9.
They're glorious. Yeah, these
I
are
love
32.
the 21:9. Well, maybe it's time to upgrade.
I've got a super ultra wide from Asus that needs to be reviewed. Stay tuned for that. I'll give you an update on the podcast when that review is live. But that is meant to be a really good one. I haven't opened it yet though because holidays.
How big is the box?
It's so big. You should have seen the bloke try to drop it off. He's like walking down the driveway. This 49-inch. Anyway, okay. CES announcements. Let's start with Dell. So this is a world's first. There's a lot of world's first. Just as a disclaimer, world's first 40-inch 5K monitor certified for 5-star eye comfort unveiled at CES 2024.
This is not really gaming, is it? This is not. This is like if you're editing the latest movie or something.
Yeah, I thought.
But even so, like that means it'll be good for gaming.
Oh, it will look glorious. It only has 120 hertz refresh rate, but 34-inch IPS black panel. 3440 by 1440 resolution, obviously. 100% of the sRGB, 99% of the DCI-P3 gamuts, and Thunderbolt 4 with 90 watts of power delivery. Now, what I've been seeing across the board with all of these new OLED displays.
Wait, that's the second one. The first one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that's the 40. Yeah, my bad. I read the wrong one.
Ultra sharp 40-inch curve.
Sorry. So all of those specs there.
1440 doesn't sound too.
Yeah, all of those specs there were for the 34-inch model. I apologize. So the 40-inch ultra sharp 40 curved Thunderbolt hub monitor, or the U4025QW, as Dell writes, is an IPS black panel. Technology for improved color contrast, 5120 by 2160 resolution, 99% of the DCI P3 color space, 5-star TUV. And I don't know, I haven't seen this certification before. Do you know anything about this eye comfort certification?
I don't know that particular name, but
it's not something I'm familiar with.
But they're good to have because it's all about flickering and things like that. So like the way because this is IPS, right? So the way backlighting works and like strobing and things like that, there's imperceptible flickering on all IPS panels, and like a strobing effect that you don't see, basically, and it can causes strain on your eyes whether you see it or not. So I don't know about this specific certification, but like it might have a mode or something like that. So like if you're working, like you put it in that mode, and basically it'll just be like reading a newspaper or something like that instead of like being in front of a screen. So like you won't be like, your eyes won't be like noticeably tired.
That is good to have. The more certifications you have, the better. This display also comes with Thunderbolt 4 connection for up to 140 watts of power delivery.
That's nuts. I would love this monitor.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Because we've both got 4090s thanks to NVIDIA and
thank you, NVIDIA.
Ultra wide 4K.
Yeah.
That's what you need for it, basically.
100%. Look, this is 5K long, 4K up. I think this would push the 4090. I don't know what game. I would love to play like Age of Empires 4 or something on this. That obviously wouldn't push it, but some game or Doom Eternal would be wicked on one of these. That would be awesome.
Yeah. You'd be able to push hundreds of FPS because Doom Eternal is so well optimized.
Yeah. And then I've already read the specs for the next one. So that's the two ultra sharps from Dell. We should move on.
What about gaming? Give us a gaming one.
We'll go for gaming. Okay, MSI is crapping out QD OLED displays. They have their entire lineup is now QD OLED displays. And we're just going to highlight a few of them. These are some of my favorites. Again, we have another 49-inch 5120. Oh, but this one's 5120 by 1440. Yeah, that's... Oh, because they've smashed the refresh rate.
Yeah, so basically it's like the 34-inch one, like the normal ones, but extended to, so it's actually like a dual... It's like basically like dual 1440p monitors instead of like 1.6.
Yeah, I saw this.
So you will still need a beefy GPU to run it.
Yeah, I saw this tech at the Samsung event. For those that have been following along with the podcast, I went to a Samsung event. I don't know, I think it was in October or something like that. They were showcasing all of their new displays, and some of the features was being able to split the display. So you could have a 4K display and split it into like two 1440p's or whatever, and have the same monitor going out to two separate sources, which was really cool. If you were like, say, I don't know, say you own this monitor, right? And then you were playing Smash Bros on the Nintendo Switch, but you also were live streaming it, but you wanted to use one display. So then you could half it, put Smash Bros here, then display in, and then put your Windows on the other side. So it's a very specific use case. I don't think anyone's going to buy the monitor specifically for that. I don't know. Maybe I'm like left.
Some of these specs are so good. 144 hertz.
For what one?
But no, for the 49-inch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 49-inch. Yeah, 0.03 millisecond response time is glorious.
Yeah, that's OLED power.
That's so good.
It's got a fanless design, so graphene film with a custom heatsink. So
it'd be so thin.
Like there's no need. It won't be making noise. Like
No.
So the very first like monitor that I got that was like super high end was like a 4K 27-inch, which was HDR 1000. Right? It was like one of the very first G-Sync Ultimate ones to test.
Wow.
And because of it was IPS, right? But because it went to HDR 1000, so if you push it, the brightness was insane, right? Like seeing that level of brightness is just bananas. But because of that, it actually had a like full-on cooling system with a fan. It was louder than my PC when it.
My god! Yeah, wow.
So whenever I see like fanless design, I'm like, all right, yeah, that's good to know because I've experienced if you have to actively cool because the monitor's getting too hot.
Yeah, no, I think they've come a long way since that, and a lot of these, I think all of the ones from CES, they don't have fans. Now I'm just going to do some of my personal favorites.
4K one. Yep.
Yeah, I want that 4K 240 hertz. Oh wait, no, sorry. The 321 URX from MSI is a 32-inch display that features a 240 hertz refresh rate. That's at 4K. Yum. I want 4K 240 hertz 32 inches. That's my favorite. That is my favorite. It's the best display I think for gaming in both FPS and like say open RPGs. Like you can play.
I think that's the one I want too.
Every single title on there, and have an awesome experience. It's big enough for an open world game, and it is also small enough for you to get really immersed in an FPS shooter. And at 240 hertz, like I've got the MSI 32-inch. 4K 160 hertz model, and it's not OLED. So that's essentially the monitor, like the upgraded version that I need. The MSI, I need this monitor. I mean, I'm going to get them all anyway to review, but like just saying, I need it not like when it comes out. I need it now.
Oh, dude, yeah, I like the design of it. Like the back panel looks really cool.
Yeah, MSI have killed it with these announcements.
The design of it, yeah.
And also
the bezel.
The monitors that we're talking about here from MSI, it's a marketing campaign from MSI that if you do purchase one of the three displays, the MPG 49 491CQP or the MPG 321URX or the MPG 271QRX and post a review of it. I think it's in the, what is it? You got to post it on the website and MSI will give you $100 Steam code.
That's pretty cool.
That's not bad. I haven't seen a company do that for a while.
Yeah, like sometimes you get like rebates on like GPUs, like, you know, you get like a free game.
Yeah.
Which it goes into the cost. Like if you're getting this monitor for gaming, right? Mm-hmm. You use $100. That's enough to buy like 2 or 3 like AAA games on Steam.
Yeah, if there's a good sale on Steam, which there always is, yeah, you can buy some games with your brand new MSI monitor. I love that. Shout out to MSI. Okay, we should quickly go through Acer here. See, look at all of these. Who is buying these super ultra wides, dude?
Which one's this one? This is the
Predator Z57. Who do you know that owns a super ultra wide?
See, I like, you remember when Samsung like came out with theirs? I know somebody who got one, and then a year later or months later, he was like, I got to get rid of it.
I wonder why.
It was just too big. Again, because it was like too stupid as well. Like, because a lot of games that don't support that aspect ratio.
Yeah, and also, see, this is the display. This is the display, Kosta, that will cream our 4090s. Here we go. Predator Z57. The Goliath of the 4 measures at 57 inches with a resolution of 7680 by 2160. It is dual 4K panels next to each other with a refresh rate of 120 hertz. It has 2304 zone mini LED technology for intense picture quality. Its curve is 1,000.
And
it's 1,000.
Display HDR 1000.
Yeah, and display HDR 1000. 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, 1 HDMI display port 1.4, and incredible color gamut with 98% covered of the DCI-P3. Absolutely would cream the 4090, I think.
Yeah, like, to be honest, like, mini LEDs are pretty good for gaming. Like, even though everybody's going OLED, yeah, like, you can't match the OLED's response times and like contrast for like black levels.
Yeah,
like,
and also the width of the display.
But mini LED brightness, right? So like, even like the Predator X34, and the Predator X34 is a classic ultra wide. The 34-inch one, that's latest mini LED one. Look here, it's got. Yeah, it's like display HDR 1000 again. So that's just going to be insane. If you love like bright, vibrant HDR, then I would go that over an OLED. But
you reckon?
Like, I don't know, like
OLED, baby, OLED. Look at it.
I can live without HDR. Like, I think it's.
I turn it off majority of the time,
but I turn it off pretty much exclusively, just because I like, it's impressive,
it sucks.
But unless something is like designed specifically for, like, you know, like
100%,
it's a lot harder to make HDR look good in a cinematography sense than it is non-HDR.
Yeah,
I turn it off. Like,
if a game like supports HDR, like say for I'm trying to remember the last game I actually turned it on. Maybe Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that, where I'm like, I want to get fully immersed in this, and that had quite good HDR, if I'm remembering correctly. I switched it on then because I like running through those buildings, and it's like pitch black, and you see it's just your flashlight when you're running, stuff like that. Yeah. And I didn't have an OLED display at the time. Did I? I might have had like one of the first OLED gaming monitors from Samsung, and the HDR was only HDR 400, so it was like. I think it was crap.
Entry level.
Yeah, it was crap.
It's not worth it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've experienced, like, HDR is like only worth it if you can get basically HDR 1000, to be honest. The 600 spec is good, but the 1000 is like great. Like, so like the 1000 is how I played like one of the more recent Call of Duties. And when like an explosion goes off with fire and like a night scene, it's almost like you feel like the
That's
flame.
wicked.
Like, that's like how like bright it like gets.
That's wicked.
Like it is impressive, but like yeah, like I don't think it's like worth enabling it on OLED panels and OLED gaming panels.
Well, we should give some prices because since you're now sold on the Predator Z57, are you ready to shell out 2,500 USD?
There's no way I can fit a 57 inch. I mean, I could. I have like my desk is pretty long.
You would find a way, Kosta. If that was given to you as a sample, you
what
would
am I
find.
I'm going to sit like this close. See where the camera is. This is how close I sit. So how long am I going to sit that close to like a 57 inch ultra wide? Like,
I don't know. I'm going to probably get a sample of this at one stage. And I have no idea where I'm going to put it.
Reach out to him.
Oh yeah, I've got a contact.
It's comically huge.
Yeah, I've got a contact at Acer.
And then just get me the X34 V3.
Yeah. Okay, so we just should rattle off some prices here. The Predator Z57 will be available in all of these monitors that we have just talked about from Acer are available in North America in Q2 2024. So starting at the top, Predator Z57 will be 2,500 USD. Predator X39, 1,500. Predator X34X, 1,300. Predator X34 V3 will be $899.
That's interesting. So the X34 V3 is the mini LED one with 1,000 nit peak HDR brightness, and the X34X is the OLED one with the HDR 400 peak brightness.
I want to get a comparison, but that's probably what the comparison that I'm going to do between those two.
The X will overall look better because it's OLED. But the V3 will be more
value
impressive for HDR and like cinematic gaming in some cases.
I'm gonna have to dive through all of these. I'm gonna be inundated with samples. Okay, moving on to Alienware. We got another 2 world first QD OLED gaming monitors.
Alienware were one of the first to the market with QD OLED, so
yeah,
they're definitely pretty far along in pushing it.
Yeah. Just for the listeners out there, Alienware is Dell's gaming brand.
Yep.
Is that a correct way to put it?
They bought Alienware.
Yeah, subsidiary.
Alienware's been around for ages. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're basically Dell's premium gaming brand.
Yep. Okay, so first up, Alienware 32 4K QD OLED gaming monitor, model number AW3225QF. I wish we had a really nice name for gaming monitors instead of me rattling off all these. It's so rough. Anyway, so we got 32-inch 4K QD OLED gaming monitor that comes with Dolby Vision HDR for improved color and contrast. Has 240 hertz refresh rate, 0.03 ms, gray to gray response time, VESA display HDR True Black 400. NVIDIA G-Sync, VESA Adaptive Sync, DCI P3 99% color coverage, 1700 R curvature. And it comes with HDMI 2.1, adjustable stand, 3-year warranty to cover that any potential OLED burn-in.
That's pretty good.
It says Dell states in its press release, world's first 4K QD OLED gaming monitor with Dolby Vision HDR designed for you to see every detail in astounding color and contrast. So is this the world's first Dolby Vision?
This is good.
HDR?
As far as I know, yeah. So if you have an LG OLED TV, you've got Dolby Vision HDR. So if you're like watching a 4K movie on Netflix that's Dolby Vision enabled with Dolby Vision HDR, your TV will automatically adjust to that mode, and it looks pretty good. Basically, what it means is that it's a specific calibration for HDR by Dolby Vision. So the content has to support it as well. And there's a lot of games now that do actually support Dolby Vision
That's
HDR.
Good.
The reason why it's probably a world first is because Alienware need to pay to have that in there.
Right.
So like it's kind of like, THX certification or something like that. You have to pay to have that mode.
So essentially, when you go into these certification, are they agencies or what are they?
It's Dolby Vision. It's Dolby.
Yeah,
Dolby.
So you would send it to the Dolby company, and then they essentially benchmark the display that you have, and then if it passes all tests, they stamp it.
Yeah, if it meets certain specs, then you'll get the calibration for Dolby Vision.
And then you
which
got
is
to
a
pay for
specific mode.
their little logo
Yeah.
that goes on the thing.
So like the non-HDR version, you would have seen on some TVs called filmmaker mode.
I'm not
It's
really
on LG
familiar.
TVs. So if you're watching a movie that isn't HDR, you switch it on filmmaker mode, and that makes movies look great. Like it
Oh,
makes sure like the colors aren't overly saturated. Like, it gives things like a cinematic, slightly warmer tone, and things like it's like a really good calibration. That's like another licensing thing that's like a consortium of like filmmakers and studios made that mode for calibration mode for TV.
that's awesome.
So just to make content look better. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, because we all know, like, the worst case scenario is like turning on the TV, watching a movie, or walking in on somebody watching a movie where with motion plus is on and the colors are saturated.
Yeah, and everything looks arse.
Everything looks like tragic, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, pff. So filmmaker mode is like, well, like, that's a a calibration thing that makes sure the settings are correct. And Dolby Vision HDR is similar for HDR.
That's
Because
awesome.
HDR is so easy to get wrong as well.
Yeah, it's easy
In terms
to
of like
stuff it up.
calibrating your TV.
We do have another world's first, according to Dell, is the Alienware 27 360 Hz QD OLED gaming monitor, or AW2725DF, which is a 27-inch QD OLED, 1440p display. That has a 0.03 ms grade-to-grade response time, a stunning 360 Hz refresh rate. I'm so excited to test these 1440p displays at 360 Hz. This is, and 0.03 ms, that is glorious. Like if you're jumping
You'll be
into
able
an
to-
Apex or Call of Duty or like these,
Oh, dude.
perfect.
Definitely test something like Apex because you'll be able to hit that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna push it. I'll drop everything to low. I want to see it sitting at
You
300.
won't need to on the 4090.
Yeah, it's true.
Drop things
I will
to
max it out. I'm not gonna drop
talking
things
about-
low. Yuck. Ew. Don't drop things low, Costa.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? The first thing I do when I open a new game is go straight to settings and hit ultra.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. You just get used to maxing things out.
People listeners that don't have like 4090s or any higher GPU are like shaking their heads right now, like these blokes.
And so they should.
Yeah, they should.
But the thing is, right, like the best value GPUs aren't the 4090s of the world.
And once you go 4090, you don't go back. It's like that
That's
other
true,
thing.
But it's not like it's not a reasonably priced
it's
thing to
not.
game on.
It's not. So this is, according to Dell, the world's first 360 Hz QD OLED gaming monitor. That is, I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, I think there's already more.
It has
there's
to
a
be.
whole
I think
bunch of
I've
them.
reviewed one.
Oh, for OLED, maybe not at that because it was 240 hertz. OLED got up
that's
to
QD.
IPS has gone up to like 480, 500 hertz now.
Oh, we're
For
going to get
OLED.
into that.
Yeah.
There's another one. Okay, so just for prices here, the 32-inch Alienware will start at $1,200 USD. The 27-inch 360 Hertz will start at $899. They're available on January 11th. So as of recording, tomorrow,
All right.
which is
Let's do,
pretty
I
cool.
guess-
In North America, sorry, for anyone that's in a different region.
Let's do the crazy refresh rate one then.
Okay. Where is it? Refresh rate. Yeah, ASRock. ASRock? Is it ASRock?
ASRock, yeah.
ASRock. So ASRock, this is just bonkers. I'm also got a contact at ASRock, and I think I'm going to be arranging samples for these. We're talking 520 hertz refresh rate. So, ASRock has joined the likes of Samsung, LG, and many other companies in teasing what they'll be unveiling at CES. The Taiwanese manufacturer showcased new gaming monitors that can reach up to 520 hertz. The two new gaming monitors are ultra-fast LCD displays, with one reaching a refresh rate of 520 and the other hitting 400. Notably, the 400 hertz variant supports a 1440p resolution, while the 520 hertz variant is 1080p. I would never, ever, ever, ever go out and buy a 520 hertz 1080p monitor.
Unless all you did was play CS Counter-Strike 2.
But even then,
Even then, I would go for like 1440,
of
right?
course you would. 520 hertz. Both monitors being released under the ASRock Phantom Gaming brand, and both are 27 inches, officially called the ASRock Phantom Gaming PG27QFW2A. That's the 1440p variant at 400 hertz and is IPS. Then you have the 1080p 520 hertz variant, which is the PG27FFX2A. There isn't further details on these. There isn't a release date. There isn't more specs. There is nothing. As of when I was reporting on this, I haven't looked more.
Yeah, I think 500 hertz gaming monitors. Once you get to that, you're getting into
What are we doing?
trade-offs.
It's
Like you're using like TN panels or like specific IPS panels that aren't designed for like.
You're sacrificing quality, like the visual fidelity for speed.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't want to knock it completely. Maybe there is gamers out there that want to go out and purchase one. I'm not one. I think it's exciting. It's cool in the way where I like to, see the fastest car go drive down a street. You know what I mean? Like, how fast is it? Oh, you got it a little bit quicker this time with the next month. Oh, it's even faster. That's cool. Yeah. But I don't want to get in the car.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I like watching it.
Yeah, I know. This is like the kind of like just seeing how fast they can push it. Like, just like you're saying. But to me, like the 360 hertz OLED, that's where you start getting interesting, right? Because like OLED is as close to end game as we're getting for solid, like display quality. And so to get like, because what happens is that people say like, oh, you can't tell the difference with the higher the refresh rates. And once you get past a certain amount, it is very, very difficult. But like what happens is once you get to like multiple hundreds, like 300, 500, 600, even up to 1,000, that's where like motion clarity hits like a new level. And it's kind of like, well, NVIDIA announced like a new G-Sync thing, but it requires a chip and it's going to be exclusive to, I think, a ASUS monitor. It's called G-Sync Pulsar. And basically, it'll be available on monitors that go up to like about these 360 hertz or whatever. But with that G-Sync pulsar mode, it does some like magic that basically makes the clarity look like 1,000 hertz display. So like if something's moving like really fast past the screen, right?
Wow.
They show like a screenshot, like you see, like even on like a 400 hertz display or whatever it is, like it's blurry.
Yeah.
But with Pulsar, it's like
completely cleaned up.
It's cleaned up. It's like 10 times more detail. And that's because once you get past a certain point of like motion clarity of getting at 1,000 hertz is when fast moving objects are really like you can really like they don't become blurry and stuff like that. And that's kind of like end game. That's kind of like probably where all displays will end up. Once you get to that point, then there's no point going any higher.
Hopefully I can test that monitor you're talking about, because that sounds awesome.
Even though it kind of like sounds like overkill, I'll add it to the notes. So it's G-Sync Pulsar. They announced it at CES. So it sounded really cool and they showed a couple of demos, but then I'm like, wow. And then at the bottom it says the first G-Sync Pulsar display from Asus is launching later this year. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it requires special hardware. So it's a G-Sync chip. But that's just to say that, like, even though 500 hertz sounds silly or 300 hertz, or like, why would you need more than 120 hertz display? And sure, like for most people, you don't really, but there is like an argument for going higher and higher and higher. There is an argument for a 1,000 hertz OLED panel when we get to that point. Because the motion will just look better.
Incredible. It'll be incredible, and it won't be as messy.
You might need like a fancy like high frame rate camera just to capture the difference.
Yeah.
But there will be a difference.
Let's go to HP here. More monitors. We'll promise you we'll get off the monitors soon. We've got the Omen Transcend 32. It's just a tip for anyone out there that is shopping for gaming monitors. I might have said this before. If you look at the model number and it says, I don't know, we'll go back to the last one. Hold on. This is just for the consumers out there. Okay, so the ASRock Phantom Gaming, the 1440p variant, and is 27 inches. Its model number is PG27QFW2A. Now, I look at that and see 27 and go, it's 27 inches.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
The numbers correlate to the size.
The size of the monitor. So that is just a little bit of a hot tip out there because monitor names, gaming monitor, or any monitor naming stinks.
You kind of like have to decipher them. Like
Yeah.
after like reading so many of the MSI ones, you can now like kind of like decipher what they are.
Yeah, but just looking at, I think it's typically the first numbers that you see, like in the name.
Yeah.
It's typically the revealing the size of it. Anyway, let's go to HP. So now we've got the HP Transcend 32, and shocker, it is a 32-inch QD OLED gaming monitor. It is 3840 4K UHD,
240 hertz again.
240
These might be
hertz.
the monitors to get. Yeah, I think there's going to be a few of these coming. I want a 4K 32-inch 240 hertz display.
Of course you do, Kosta. That's exactly what you want. It's exactly what you want. And you want zero. See, this is different. I don't know if this was a typo, but instead of going 0.03 ms, they went 0.3 ms response time.
It's a typo, for
I
sure. If it's
think
OLED, that has to be a
Yeah,
typo.
but I mean, it's in their press release. So I wrote it as is because I didn't want to.
You can only report as is, but it has to be a typo.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm like, what? 0.3 of a second? Like,
Because the whole point of
Really?
QD OLED response times is that they're basically non-existent. So it's like 0.03 milliseconds. To go to 0.3, which is still...
That's a jump, and it's strange. I don't think... I looked at it and I was like, this has to be a typo. Anyway, 99% of the DCI P3 color coverage, VESA display, HDR True Black 400, peak brightness of up to 1000 nits. HP is
KVM.
Yes,
switchable
KVM.
inputs built on.
Yep.
Yeah.
KVM switch for seamlessly
This is what
switching between devices, drag and drop files across devices as well. You were going to say, sorry.
This is what I need for like benchmarking. So
Absolutely,
I can just switch
you do.
between like Thingo and then work PC,
Yeah.
benchmark PC, just go bang, bang,
And
bang,
you're
bang,
using the
KVM.
same mouse on the same.
Same display, same keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
And just switch between them.
Yeah, I think that's a very underutilized feature for people that have multiple systems in the same room.
Yep.
And obviously that is a small percentage of people compared to the total PC users, but for creators,
connect a laptop to it.
connect a laptop, people that are a bit more tech savvy, that's something that you should definitely look into if you are looking to buy
Connect
it.
your laptop for work.
Absolutely,
Same
yeah.
display, keyboard, mouse.
100%.
Unplug it. Your game or switch to your gaming PC to play games.
Yep. Beautiful. Or just buy an 8K dual 4K dual
Oh, the
4K
57 inch?
Yeah, the 57 inch, and then just split
Just
it
have them
down the
both on
center.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That is
Look at that.
insane. It's crazy. HP states on its website that the Omen Transcend 32 is the world's first gaming monitor with independent switchable USB ports, while also being the world's first OLED gaming monitor with 140 watt USB-C power delivery. Lots of world's first, Kosta. Lots of world's first.
So many world's first.
Yeah. Furthermore, HP writes that VESA display HDR True Black 400 provides up to 50x greater dynamic range and 4x improvement in rise time compared to HDR 1000. As for price and release, HP writes the Omen Transcend 32 gaming monitor is expected to be available later this year. I'm pretty sure
They do look stylish.
What was that, sorry?
They do look stylish.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I think they look pretty cool. I love white. Like my PC case is white.
Yeah, that's what I was all in, and then the 4070 Super in black came, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, wait.
time to hang up the white.
Time to hang up.
Go back
the
to
white.
black.
I'll just quickly
should we-
LG. I'll just do quickly LG here. Sorry. 27 inch, 1440p, 480 hertz OLED gaming monitor. Showcased at CES. They call it the new era of OLEDs. 480 hertz, 0.03 ms response time.
Wow, 480 hertz OLED.
it's just bonkers. I just wanted to touch on that.
LG have a different OLED technology. They don't use QD OLED.
Yeah.
So if you don't see QD OLED, it's LG's version, which isn't typically as bright, but 480 hertz.
480, bro. 480. Wild.
Okay, that'd be good to have.
Wild. Anyway, let's get off those gaming monitors.
Yep.
I'm about over them. All right, what should we move into now?
Yeah, so AMD stuff. Now, the next batch of stories won't be anywhere near as... There's not 20 different monitors to go through. But there are a few products to go through. It's all good, man. There's probably going to be another like half a dozen monitors for next week.
Okay, we're not done.
So
no, we're not done with the monitors.
CES is going to be multiple episodes. So AMD announced a GPU. So NVIDIA had the super GPUs. AMD introduced the Radeon RX 7600 XT with 16 gig of VRAM for $329 US, launching January 24. Now, there's a lot about that is exciting in the headline, but there's like a big asterisk.
Ooh.
So the Radeon 7600, which is their mainstream GPU, that's their entry level or mainstream RDNA 3 GPU for $269, is basically like a 3060, 4060 equivalent. So it's like mainstream 1080p gaming.
Right.
And it's fairly decent for that. Like I reviewed it, and it's a pretty good 1080p monitor. It's like 8 gig, like 269. That's the sort of 3060s are sold for more than that still. So this is like you're talking about mainstream gaming. So at that sort of price, you don't expect 16 gig of VRAM, right?
Yeah.
So you got this 7600 XT with 16 gig of VRAM, and it's 329 instead of 269. So it's a bit of a price jump. But what's weird about this GPU is that it's the exact same GPU as the 7600. So it's got the same specs. Like it's got, let me just run through it.
Same clock speeds, different clock speeds?
Different clock speeds, yeah, but same like stream processors, same like number of like ray tracing cores and things like that. Like it's all that's it's basically the same sort of like GPU that's got 16 gig of VRAM on a slower 128-bit bus, the same bus speed, same memory speed, and it's got faster clock speeds. So the clock speed goes from 2.67 gigahertz to 2.76 gigahertz.
Is that negligible? That difference? Like that's basically the same, right?
It's enough to make a difference. So
we're talking within 5%?
Yeah. In most cases, yeah, where VRAM's not an issue. So the thing is, AMD, like during the announcement, said that they showed these benchmarks and they picked games where VRAM capacity and clock speed makes a big difference. So you're looking at Forza, Last of Us, Starfield, Avatar, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3. These are modern games. And it makes sense that VRAM is going to make a bit of a difference. So at 1080p, like you're looking at better than the 7600. But weirdly, they kind of like compared performance with the 2060 from NVIDIA.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And
2060?
Yeah, because
what are they doing?
It's bizarre. So the reason why is that the Steam hardware survey, they said that 50% of all GPUs are 2060 or slower playing games on PC, which is like fair enough.
Okay.
Because you're looking at
valid. Okay.
So that's why they're choosing that, but it's not really.
It's not fair. That's like
it's not fair, right?
Yeah. It's like everyone's got them, but like.
Yeah, and so then when they did compare it to the 4060, which is an 8 gig card, it is not faster. It's kind of basically the same as the 7600, but when they showed some of their benchmarks, they included their driver-based fluid motion frames tech, which is frame generation, but it's like sacrificing visual quality for frame generation, and I'm not too sure how great that would be at 1080p or which is what they're showing. So why is I thought that a 7600 XT would be like a beefier card, right? So it'll just be like it'll compete with like a 4060 Ti, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're going for, which they're not, weirdly. So the performance gap between the 7600 XT 16 gig and the 7700 XT 12 gig, which is a decent mid-range card, is still going to be quite dramatic. But the reason why they've gone for this is that this might actually end up being a big seller for AI. So at CES, it was basically AI PCs left, right, and center, right?
Yeah.
So to run Stable Diffusion and Llama and a few other generative AI things, you kind of like need VRAM, and 16 gig will make it noticeably faster than a like a 4060 or a baseline 7600. And also for like content creation, if you're editing 4K video, you'll be able to use the extra frame buffer. So there is a case to be made for frame buffer, and there are some games where it'll make a difference. But because the baseline performance is the same as their mainstream GPU, and outside of like overclocked by whatever 4 or 5% just to get faster performance. So, and they said that it's overclocked, which means that it will perform better than the 7600 in every game. Wow. Whereas like the 4060, NVIDIA did a similar thing. They did the 4060 Ti 8 gig and the 4060 Ti 16 gig, charging more for, and that wasn't met with applause or anything. People were like, why? Because the performance is basically the same. So the performance between these cards will kind of be the same, I think, but they cherry picked a few games, and it can get up to 10% faster.
Yeah, I think we'll be within 5% across the average. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. And they did say that like for most games, it probably won't be that as dramatic as what you can see in their benchmarks.
It's a bit of a strange move, isn't it?
So launching this GPU is weird because I thought that because there is a huge performance gap between the 7600 and the 7700 XT. I'm talking about like 30+%.
No, there's plenty of room for them to just.
So there was like something to do something like bam, like right in the middle.
Yeah, like give me like 20 or 15%, maybe 15% compared to the 7600.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you would get something a bit more exciting with 16 gig of VRAM.
So what's the motivation? Is it just the AI? Is that what you're suspecting?
Like yeah, it seems like, but also future proofing for everything really.
Because games are demanding more VRAM.
Yeah, and VRAM's not going to become any cheaper anytime soon, with like memory prices potentially increasing this year. So
a little odd, but
yeah. So so it can, like in like best case scenarios, it will be kind of like about 15% faster than the 7600 based on their cherry picked games, like modern games that require a lot of VRAM. And that's using specific settings too, because there might be settings where like it'll just be exactly the same really, or very, very close. So but that's coming January 24, and I'll definitely be reviewing it. I'll be interested to know. But I mean, I liked the 7600 because it came pretty cheap. Like they dropped the price to $269, and it's not exciting, but like a mainstream GPU is a mainstream GPU, right? As long as it can deliver the 1080p gaming, can dabble in 1440p with like medium settings and stuff like that, it's doing its job. Yeah. With modern games.
Bang for your buck.
So this one is like, about 20-30% more cost. So that's when you start going, well, is the trade-off going to be worth it? So we'll find out when that comes out.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. Stay tuned for those reviews. All of the I can't say, it's a bit early now, but the gaming monitors that was rattling off, I'm going to do my best to get as many of those as possible. And every week that there's a new review, we'll be discussing that on the show.
So this is the more exciting AMD thing, I think, for me.
Go.
Because it means like we're getting into mini PC territory.
Here we go.
I love tiny PCs.
Yeah, I love them. They're so good.
So AMD announced a new Ryzen 8. Their new Ryzen 8000G series desktop processors. This is on a desktop rig, so you can get like a mini ITX board, build a tiny PC.
Love
and
it.
So the top of the line. This is just a CPU, right? So you got a PC with a Ryzen 7 8700G.
Yeah.
You can run Cyberpunk 2077 at full HD at over 60 FPS.
And how much is
And that's a
it?
visually demanding game.
How much is it?
And it's only $329 US. So that's the top of the line. This is all in one. So you don't need to buy
Wow.
like a GPU. But there's a asterisk there. You're not running full HD games at max settings. You're running at low to medium settings. But
it says that their average frame rate is 1080p, low details. Okay, all right. I was like, wait, what have they done here? You can run 1080p like with integrated graphics, 60 FPS, Cyberpunk.
But some games you will be pushing, right? You'll be pushing. So it's got the Radeon 780M mobile GPU, which is pretty capable, right? So you could build like a home. This is like, if you had like a home theater PC or something, this will be good enough to game on. Like or like something small form factor, like a really small PC with like a mini ITX board. And the thing is, like, it actually has room for expansion. So you could put this GPU in. You could build a gaming rig with this GPU, be able to play entry level gaming, and then buy a GPU at a later date.
That's fantastic.
So it's basically the fastest integrated graphics we've ever seen in desktop. But this is exciting because it means that it's faster than the mainstream, GeForce GTX 1650s and 1660s, which is still which is still being used by a lot of people for 1080p. So when I say like Cyberpunk, you'll be able to play Counter-Strike and Apex Legends at like
100
medium to
FPS.
high settings,
100
FPS at 1080p. Yeah.
Wow.
Right? So
see, AMD does weird stuff
CPU.
with their GP, like when they're trying to compete with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And then they do stuff like this. And it's like, right? This is amazing. Thank you, AMD. Oh, good on them.
This is cool because, and also it's got AI hardware in it. So it's the first desktop processor with built-in AI. So like Intel launched their Media Lake for laptops and stuff. So, all these Media Lake laptops were announced at CES, and we won't go into those because there's like 5,000 of them.
Don't you dare start that conversation.
So they're all like, they've got AI hardware because it's that chip, but that's not a desktop chip. That's a mobile chip. So this is a desktop CPU. So this goes into your motherboard, and so it has an NPU, so it's good for AI, and it doesn't need a GPU. So it's pretty impressive. So it's like, entry level stuff, but
still, this is I love this.
And it's low power. It's only 65 watts.
Yeah, right? I'm looking at the specs now.
That's for the CPU with GPU, right?
Yeah.
So if you're gaming on this thing and it's just drawing 65 watts, right?
That's
how efficient is that?
That's amazing.
And this is like, it's like, imagine like a few years from now if they push this technology further, where there's like RDNA 4 powered graphics or RDNA 5 integrated into the GPU. We're almost getting to like, as soon as like a iGPU can hit 40-60 level performance.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Then you basically, like, a GPU becomes like
obsolete
for mainstream gaming. Not obsolete, it becomes like a luxury item. Like, you don't need it. Sort of
That's
thing.
a better way. That's
you know
a better
what I mean?
way of putting it, yeah.
Because like now you need, like if you're building a gaming rig, you need a GPU.
Of course.
If you're building a gaming rig now, if you looked at the 8700G here, you might say, well, I'll save some money. Like all I can afford is a $300-$400 and I want to get a 4070 or a 4080. So let me build my PC now with this CPU, which is good it's a good CPU just in general. And then once, a few months down the track, put a 4070 in.
Yeah.
Or put in like a Radeon 7800 XT or something. And then you've just like quadrupled the gaming performance or whatever.
It's brilliant.
So it is a very cool announcement. So they announced that.
No, I'm
and
happy
then
with that.
they also announced that their driver-based fluid motion frames tech, for frame generation, is going to be launching when they launch the new 7600 XT. It's going to be part of the drivers. So then you'll be able to enable frame gen or their version of frame generation on any DirectX 11 and 12 game, and it'll support this new integrated graphics, and it'll support even things like the ROG Ally and handhelds like the Legion Go, which will be interesting to see how it works, because the visual quality isn't at DLSS levels.
Yeah, do you think
it is driver based? But if they improve, they've been improving it in the preview version, and the most latest the very first preview version, people said like stuttering, frame sync issues. The thing, it felt like a beta.
Yeah.
Whereas like the most recent update, people are saying, oh, this is actually pretty decent now. So it'll be something that if they keep working on, could be one of their big game changers as well. Because if you talk about that, like that CPU, the 8000G series, and if you add frame generation into the mix, which is driver based,
Yeah, you could get 70, 80 FPS.
So then that Cyberpunk at 60 FPS becomes Cyberpunk at 120 FPS.
Or
if the visual
120.
quality is decent, right? And then you're like, oh shit, just off the CPU, that's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive.
Because now this tech is like you can runs off the CPU without a GPU, dedicated GPU.
What I don't want though is them to release this and across multiple different games, a bunch of gamers report that it's making my game worse, it's stuttering my game, and then they get a bunch of bad press. Like, this is one of these things where it's like, it feels almost too good to be true. It's like, oh, this just works for every game, like magic. Like, I don't want them to release it and then people start turning it on in their games however long after they release it, and it's just terrible. Like, don't release it if it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it's a trade-off, right? And this is the difference I come to realize between DLSS and AMD's FSR. So FSR is open source and it doesn't require like you can run it on any GPU when it's a part of a game, when it's integrated into the game. And this new driver level version is like to open it up to all Radeon owners for every single game. But you need a Radeon GPU, which is fair enough because it's part of their drivers. Whereas NVIDIA's is like, no, you need this hardware. You need this hardware for frame gen and only works with this hardware. It's based on our expertise in AI. And so you're going to get the absolutely best visual quality for upscaling as well as frame generation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like why upscaling and frame generation in games has become a hot topic, is because it's hit a quality point, which is like, DLSS upscaling can be better than native resolution. Like it's better than anti-aliasing like TAA, like in other things.
Yeah, you don't
like
have to sacrifice visual fidelity for more frames.
Yeah. And then you can use their DLAA, which is like the reverse, where like if you have the bandwidth like on a 4090, you can run a game at 8K and display it on a 4K monitor.
Yeah.
But using their DLLA, which is like in reverse.
It's like super resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like super sampling.
Yeah.
Where you basically, it's rendering it at higher and then it's using AI to do that.
Just like,
yeah. And that looks like that's probably the best way you can get a game to look if you have the headroom for it.
Yeah.
But that's using AI, right? So like that's where they're at. Whereas AMD is kind of like, let's try and make it work, look good, not the best, but just to be a broader approach.
Yeah.
Like so it's different, and which is interesting, but like it just like you're saying, like it'll just depend on, I think it'll always depend on the game.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to do every game, like not every game is going to look good.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm glad they're doing it. I like open source things. I think this is going to be rocky when it drops, but I think give it a year, maybe 2 years, it's going to be really good. And it will probably even get to the point where it's really comparable to DLSS.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is,
just need some
DLSS
time.
will always get better. That's the problem.
You think it will always be better?
Well, I think because NVIDIA just always come out like the ray reconstruction, right?
Yeah.
So like the
They
DLSS 3.5 that makes ray tracing now look so much crisper, like reflections and things like that, like the ray reconstruction, which is AI tensor core powered again. But that's like a game changer for ray tracing in games.
Did we have that? Did we have a story on that you wanted to go over? Yeah. Do you want to go into that now?
That was a while ago. That was with Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty expansion update.
That's right. Yes, yeah,
it's like
that's right.
Where the reflections look like so much crisper and everything, like the ray tracing, the lighting looks better.
Yeah, it cleaned up all the light, like all of the pixelation.
It just makes it look better. Yeah. So that's now like a part of DLSS. So like the game has got ray tracing, it's just going to look better on an NVIDIA card. So like AMD haven't got an answer to that yet. So they're always seemingly playing catch up when it comes to certain things. But they're taking a lead here because they're doing driver-based frame gen, which is interesting. It'll be interesting to see it grow.
Yeah, I'm keen for it. Did you want to do Sony?
I'll do the Claw quickly.
Go ahead. The Claw.
The Claw. Actually, when I retweeted it, like I was like, the Claw. Toy Story reference, of course.
Yes.
So PC gaming handhelds are just going to become even bigger and bigger. And MSI now have got their first PC gaming handheld called the MSI Claw. What makes this different is that it's got Intel Core Ultra processor in it, which is the Media Lake, the new AI-powered, the brand new architecture that launched in December. We touched on briefly. But this has integrated Intel Arc graphics.
Okay.
So it's apparently good enough for 1080p medium settings AAA gaming. It's got a full HD 120 hertz touchscreen panel. It's got VRR capabilities, 500 nit peak brightness. It's got a 53 watt hour battery, so it's larger battery capacity than the ROG Ally. It's got impressive cooling, this sort of stuff. DDR5 memory, 16 gig. So basically all of the other specs are similar to what you've seen in like the ROG Ally and like the Legion Go from Lenovo. The design of the handheld with like the button layout and stuff like that looks very PC gaming handheld. Like there's no other way to say it.
Absolutely it does. It looks like a toy.
Except like, it's just got the MSI on it. So it's like it's the MSI version. It'll just be, what makes it interesting is the fact that they didn't choose the Ryzen 7 the Z1 processor, Z1 Extreme that everybody else is choosing, maybe to be different. But the Intel Core Ultra 7 155H is what I'm sure that there might be different cheaper models, but like that CPU only launched basically in late December. So
it's fresh.
So this is fresh.
Yeah.
It'll be and that was Intel sort of like catching up to Ryzen, because Ryzen has been so far ahead for like integrated graphics with the Radeon stuff being integrated, that it'll be interesting to see how this performs. So this, I mean, maybe they're doing as well to differentiate themselves from being just another Ryzen-powered handheld that's going to perform exactly the same or be very similar.
What OS are these running? Are these Windows?
This is Windows.
Yeah, it's Windows 11.
Windows.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're all running Windows 11.
Wow. Well, how do you feel about the design of that? I think it looks silly. I think it's got the Xbox key, like the AXYB. That looks exactly like an Xbox controller. I think it looks...
That's standard though.
Yeah, but I think the design looks dumb.
It's like a Steam Deck though. Like what would you change?
I like more like right angles. Like the Nintendo.
Right, you like the ROG, like Ally,
the Ally looks
Switch.
killer. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
and also the Switch is all like those rounded, but it's thin. Yeah. This looks like a Toys R Us toy. It looks cheap.
Well, we'll see when it comes out. Yeah, like actually what I do like, I'll bring it up on.
You see what I mean? It's got RGB under the freaking.
Let me post this into the chat.
Oh God.
Click on that. So Ayaneo, who released like a very cool retro-looking gaming PC recently, have got a new. This is a gaming handheld with the Ryzen, powerful Ryzen graphics. So there's two models. There's one with a keyboard and one that looks like a Nintendo DS.
This is
like
bizarre.
A classic Nintendo
what the hell
DS.
Is this?
So it's like a flip with like a dual screen. These are running Windows as well. So there's one that's basically like a portable like Palm Pilot PC with like.
How big are these? DS? Are they DS size?
Oh, it'll probably be bigger. Yeah, a bit bigger. But like the screen is 7-inch, so 7-inch screen.
How big is
so
the
basically
Switch?
Like a Switch.
Oh, this like the Switch. Okay. That's another weird looking. Man, CES, the strange things that come out of.
Yeah, so the DS, so like the Flip DS, which is like a classic Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
Like has like two screens. So because it's running Windows, the way that it runs is that it's like running two displays in Windows.
And extended?
Yeah. Yeah, so you extend the displays, yeah. It's like an interesting.
I want to play with it.
I like it. Yeah, I want to play it.
Yeah, I want to give it a go. That's funny. That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. No, sorry,
All
MSI. I don't like your claw.
The Claw.
The claw. Okay, what else do we got on the menu here? Should we do Sony? We're running strapped for time here. Okay, let's start off with the Legend of Zelda movie teaser. This is one of the strangest things to come out of CES 2024. Sony CEO gave an update on a Nintendo product.
Yeah, this is...
What are we living in a simulation here? This is weird. And then... Oh, I know. Actually, I won't say that. I'll save that for the next story.
But it is like for the movie, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, these are competing companies. You would never...
Yeah, you'd think that they would sign a deal with like Sony Pictures or whatever.
They did.
Yeah, no, but you wouldn't think that that was even,
you wouldn't think that they would. Yes, that's exactly
because
right.
it was like Universal that did the animated Mario movie. So you'd think that'll just be like Universal for... I just would have assumed that'll just be the same studio.
Yeah, and that was the biggest animated movie of all time. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. It's so successful. I think it was $1.4 billion. It's like it's so successful. So anyway, CES 2024, Sony Pictures Sony CEO. Not even going to...
Kenichiro Yoshida.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that. Took to the stage and said, quote, "We're also excited about another IP expansion. The adaptation of Nintendo's game franchise, The Legend of Zelda." And he promised that the film would deliver, quote, "an amazing tale of adventure and discovery."
Dude, like...
I'm so keen. I want to see it.
Legend of Zelda is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. Now, so I've redone my office, like painted it over the break and stuff. So there's a new bookshelf at the back. There's going to be frames and stuff that will go up. So this will evolve. But like on one of the shelves is like the N64 Zelda.
Oh, nice.
In the box, mint condition.
Oh, perfect.
So as a kid, like I must have been like had Sixth Sense where like I would buy the game and then take the game out of the box and then put the box away and not touch it again ever again just to keep it pristine.
Did you keep your like discs in a sleeve thing, like a sleeve book?
Yeah,
I thought so. Yeah,
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So, but the Zelda, that's actually I got it signed by Miyamoto.
Oh my god, that'd be worth a pretty penny.
So the cartridge is signed. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, bro. That's so cool. I love that.
But my point is that like I loved like Wind Waker and GameCube. I love Ocarina of Time on the 64 and obviously Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Yeah.
But these have a very animated look to them, if you know what I mean. So like it actually makes more sense for Zelda to be an animated film like the Super Mario Brothers movie
100%.
than the Mario Brothers movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a live action Zelda is going to be hard to pull off because if you look at the art style, right? Like Link in like a bright green outfit or like the elfish thing, or like it can so easily look silly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Link doesn't talk, right? Zelda is a very silent game. Like on the Switch ones, there are like cinematics with like Zelda, she speaks and other characters speak, and it gets really dramatic. And Nintendo did well with the cinematics. But Link has always been like this faceless thingo, and
you project your personality onto Link.
That's right. And like there's always a chance that this could be amazing, right? Like you could adapt anything and make, if it's done well, like you can always do something that would far exceed any sort of expectations, whatever. But like I can't picture how a live action.
Neither can I. And I also did some, and this is just a sidebar. I did a story on Jack Black talking about doing a Minecraft movie. Like he's voicing Steve in a Minecraft movie,
right.
And Steve doesn't talk. Steve is just a skin. Those genuinely don't talk. So I don't know how you're going, like how a voice actor is meant to give his spin or his take on a character that is specifically designed for every player around the world to be able to project themselves onto. So like everyone's Steve is different because everyone plays Steve differently.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's going to be interesting.
But
very cool announcement from Sony CEO there. They kicked off Sony's press conference by driving their new car, their new EV. Hold on, I actually don't think I put this story. Did I put this? No, I didn't. I didn't put that.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
But that, yes. So they drove the car.
Yeah, here
it is. It's in the story.
Is it? Okay, good.
Oh, it's within the story,
Yeah.
But yeah, we can always add it. But
so, President and COO Sony, Sony's president and COO drove the Sony Honda Mobility Afeela EV. It's new.
It's a
EV.
Honda car, yeah.
It's a spawn of a partnership between Sony and Honda. Onto the stage with a DualSense PS5 controller.
This is dangerous, right? So
Very cool.
So
this is dangerous.
I've always have you ever imagined what it would be like to just for example I've always imagined let's say you're just driving your car, right? But on the back of your car is this long pole, and then there's a camera attached to it. And looking down on your car.
Yeah. And
looking to the street. And so then basically you're sitting in your car with a screen and you see your camera view of your third person car with a controller. So it's just like a video game. You're just driving your car.
Oh my God.
Right?
Someone's going to do that on TikTok now. Now that we've said that. Someone's going to do that.
It's I've always imagined would that be kind of cool to drive your car like that? But I'm thinking because you could just mess up.
No.
So what happens if...
How many times have you crashed into something in Need for Speed, Kosta?
Many times.
There we go. Yeah.
You go just you go...
Yeah, except this is Gran Turismo 400.
They shouldn't be allowed.
Where there's real life consequences for this. But, he does say, and you are right, this is completely for demonstrative purposes. It was for the show. I'm pretty sure he said during the announcement that this is just for demonstrative purposes. It's not like they're going to roll out an update to PS5. If they ever launch the Afeela and if that goes to market, you can control it with your PS5 controller.
Imagine, right? Because you know how, imagine this, right? Now this is some sci-fi stuff that actually this will be funny if possible. So you know how supermarkets all have click and collect. So you're you order on your phone, right? You're playing God of War Ragnarok, right? Right. And you pause, you pick up your phone, you order your groceries, and it's click and collect. All right, done. All right. So then on your PS5, you go to the dash, and then you fire up car.
Go on,
and then it just gives you the camera, and then you see it, and then you just pull out of your driveway. Yeah. And then you're just on your TV, right?
You're driving like you were saying with the controller, with the camera.
You haven't left the couch this whole time. Oh. And then you pull up into the click and collect parking spot, and then you click the button, RB, click the right stick.
RB. The boot's
R2. Yeah, opens the boot. The guy comes in, puts the groceries in, closes the boot for you, and then you drive off and drive home.
Yeah. You give him a toot, beep beep, and then you're off.
Yeah, beep beep.
It'd be cool if you could do that on obviously this would be so dangerous, and I don't think Sony should ever do this. But if you had a full driving setup, with the wheel and stuff like that, and then you could be I gotta go pick up my groceries. So you just swipe over and open up the car in real time, and then you're just there with your pedals, backing out. You're you're backing out, and you're just sitting in your undies, but the car's at the supermarket.
The PSVR 2 headset.
Oh, dude. Yes. Well, that goes straight into the next story. Sony has announced a new headset. Did you see this?
No, tell me about it. I saw the headline, but I wanted to know about it because I haven't had time to read it yet. So it's a mixed reality headset.
They call it doesn't have an official name. It's called Extended Reality Head-Mounted Display. That is what they state in their press release. I'm not sure what extended reality is. Maybe it is Sony's version of mixed reality.
Yeah, that's just
it's a much for muchness kind of thing.
It's good. They can put the X in it, so it's like XR.
Yeah. Okay. Very
Which
cool.
Is cool, as we know. So edgy.
Very cool, Sony. Oh yeah, sick. However, There are many questions regarding this headset. It is designed for spatial content creation. It is called a spatial content creation system that is designed for content creators that operate within 3D environments. So they didn't really give that many examples, but I'm thinking virtual artists, maybe people that are working on very intricate architectural design, maybe working on like it says here human
like
facial
engineers.
expressions. Like it says it's designed for high definition rendering of 3D objects, but it's designed for content creators. So people that are making things within VR. I'm struggling to think of many examples besides artistic ventures and
there's always
architecture.
So like you look at the images, remember like the HoloLens, right? It's the same thing. Well, I mean, obviously like in terms of like how they presented it, like, you know, it's always like some person that's got like a motorcycle, whatever, and they're just like pulling apart the engine and going, oh, this is how we're going to design the engine sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like is that like how people do?
Are people using these?
Like that?
Yeah.
Because like, why would you, I don't see the I just want to use it for gaming, really.
I know. I can see this device if it's specifically for high definition 3D model rendering of. If I were to go back into school into biology class, I feel like I would have understood a hell of a lot more if every student in the classroom put on their own headset and the teacher were just like threw up a cell and there's like, here's the mitochondria. Here's the powerhouse of the cell. And it's a visual representation for students. I would have loved that. Even with math, where it's like if you could, everyone's sitting in a virtual classroom and the teacher is just helping some students, and they taught me this in school, learn differently. Some people learn by reading stuff, some people learn by hearing stuff, some people learn most efficiently by seeing it. And a lot of my friends are tradies and they sucked in classes like biology because they couldn't understand. They're hands-on people. Right. They're hands-on.
Yeah.
So if you put if you put on one of these headsets and actually showed them like, look, here it is. This is what it looks like. So like if you get it if you get the mitochondria in the test paper and you're like, identify where the mitochondria is within the cell, they would know that. They would like it. I feel like there's so many people that would benefit from a visual representation of whatever they're learning within schools. But outside of that application, I don't know.
You know what's kind of cool is that the design looks like the PSVR 2 as well.
Yeah, it does. Visually. It looks like a...
like it's got the cameras on the outside, so it's kind of like the Meta Quest 2, but then obviously the Vision Pro and stuff like that. What I really
like is six cameras and sensors, comes with a Ring controller. This is different. That little device that is on within that image sits over your finger and allows for precise movements. So that's why I was thinking artist, like someone that's drawing in a virtual environment or doing someone's makeup. I'm not sure. It allows for very precise movements, and also this is a kind of like I like this feature because it's a Ring. You don't have to take off the headset or put down the controllers for you to interact with a keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is an all-in-one. So this is wireless. It's powered by the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 processor, which is the latest one from Qualcomm. So yeah, that's kind of like designed for mixed reality. I think they teased it last year. So it's 4K. Pretty exciting that it can power 4K and it's just an all-in-one mobile processor in there.
It's cool. I just think they need to show me more applications. Show me more different ways people can use this, because right now all I'm thinking is classrooms, artists, and engineering and designing. But maybe that is all that it is for.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that's kind of could also be just like here's a cool prototype for CES sort of thing, because CES is all about wowing people to say like, like to show something that may never become an actual thing, but is in development as well.
Very cool. Very cool. this is one of my favorite headlines to write. Sony bends the knee to Microsoft to get its AI into its new electric car.
Sony is going to be, they're going to be running things on like Azure servers and using all the like Microsoft.
Big dogs. Yep. They're the man. No, so the new car, new electric car, as we were talking about before, is birthed out of a partnership between Sony and Honda, and they want AI assistance inside the car. I'm not sure exactly what one. Hold on, I just want to make sure I get this right here. Promises on stage, Microsoft. The main focus of the feature was AI safety. We aim to redefine the relationship between people and mobility. They want Microsoft-powered AI assistants inside of the Afeela. I don't know if the Afeela is ever going to come to market. I think it might be like one of those products that you were just talking about where they're like, oh, look, Sony has its own car. They made it with Honda and it's AI-powered thanks to Microsoft. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, how many Afeelas exist?
Yeah,
is it
like
one?
NVIDIA.
Is it one Afeela?
During the NVIDIA presentation with like the super GPUs and all that sort of stuff, then they had like a presentation after that was just all about automotive and AI stuff, and I was like, I don't have time to cover any of this. But like, it was
Tesla.
all like
Tell Elon,
because it's all like, you know, how advanced like their Omniverse is for like designing cars to like automated driving, and it's all just like, it's like, yeah, but when's this going to become mainstream?
Yeah, and is that for consumers? That's for B2B discussions. It's business.
Yeah,
I think for 90% of the people sitting in that audience at the CES, I imagine are consumers. Like they're interested in like the gaming monitors. They're interested in, you know, the new graphics cards and all that stuff. They're not interested in, we can render 40,000 different vehicles within our new software in case you want to build a car. Like what? What are you talking about? Yeah, that's about it from Sony. I don't know. I mean, their press conference was a long one. That's just some of what I saw. As I said, I've been covering so many different stories I couldn't get through. I didn't have enough time to watch the entire press conference. But that's what I saw out of it, and I thought that was pretty cool. Are we blasting through these stories?
I'll skip the NVIDIA AI stuff. We can go through it next time. But I definitely want to just briefly touch on Half-Life 2 Remix, because remember we've been talking about RTX Remix?
Yes.
Tool for remastering old games. Yeah. And you know, if you love classic games,
you're just going to make me replay all of the old games.
So Half-Life 2 and RTX Remix project is a proper, so I actually got a better understanding of how it works now as well, which is good. So they released a new trailer for it, and it's the Ravenholm level in Half-Life 2. Ravenholm level is the one that's kind of like zombie survival horror. We end up in like this town at nighttime and you got the head crab zombies and it's like creepy and stuff. Mm-hmm. So Half-Life 2 Remix project is a mod powered by RTX Remix that fully path traces the game. Wow. It uses AI to also upscale certain textures, but it also has a team of like 60 modders that are recreating assets. So they're remaking all the models and stuff. And with RTX Remix, you can just replace assets in the game. So basically, so RTX Remix is powerful, right? And this shows you that a team of like artists around the world, like 60 artists, like they're not all like working full time on it. You know, some might just be contributing assets. This looks amazing and stuff like that. But this looked like a full on remake, right?
That's what I was blown away. Almost got a tear.
And this is one of the best games of all time.
I know.
It looks this good.
Wow.
So this is how RTX Remix works. So you take a compatible game, which is pretty much most games that are 3D from like DirectX 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatever, and you put it into RTX Remix, and it converts the game into NVIDIA's Omniverse file format, or format where it can read it. And so basically you can open the game at that point, and it connects to like 3D modeling software or Adobe software as well. So like it connects to all these other softwares. It's like NVIDIA's Omniverse Creative Tool Suite. And basically, you could fire up a level, and then you can just have like things like a wall texture, right, which is just like a low res bricks, like you're looking at a game from like early 2000s, and then you can use AI to upscale it. And this is generative AI, so it's not just making that same wall texture look crisp; it's making the bricks
adding
new.
assets.
Yeah. And then it adds a layer of depth to it. So then, it makes it look like parallax, like in modern games where the bricks look like they have depth. So it's not just a flat texture anymore. So I can do that automatically.
Wow.
So then you can make the environment look heaps better, like pretty much instantly.
Oh my God.
But then you can just say, select this chair, and then you could replace it with a new highly detailed model. You can take all the existing, like, lighting in the game and replace it with like fully path trace lighting. You can, so at the basic level, you could just like upscale textures in an old game. That's pretty much all you can do. Just make them to brand new AI textures. Basically, you get AI to generate brand new textures for a game, or using the existing thing to make it look way better. But then you can go in and replace all the objects, and then you can add path tracing, and then basically do all this stuff. So what this means for modders with Half-Life Remix is that they've got these tools that they can just easily remaster an old game without reverse engineering the code, rebuilding it in Unreal Engine or something. Like if you're thinking about a remake, you're thinking about, we're remaking the game in the modern Unreal Engine just so we have access to all the new effects.
Yeah, see,
whereas this is like no.
years or so.
You've got access to DLSS, you've got access to frame generation, you've got access to the ray reconstruction. So now that's why the ray tracing looks so good in this.
It's one of my favorite things NVIDIA has ever done. Is to give this to the public and be like, you want to fix the games that you like?
Yeah, it's open source, free for all modders, and it's launching into open beta on January 22nd. And obviously this Half-Life 2 Remix project, just showing that the Ravenholm is already looking this good.
Beautiful.
This is going to be out this year, I think, for sure. They're just remastering assets, and NVIDIA are helping them out as well. But this is basically just like a mod. So like this isn't NVIDIA making it. They've got modders making it. So when they did Portal with RTX to showcase RTX Remix, they did it themselves, and that looks amazing. Then they did a Portal prequel that never got released, which was like a fan-made thing, but they got modders to use RTX to make it. So they obviously was more hands-off to say, you do it, and they did just as good of a job. And now this one is the same sort of thing where it's like they got some modders and they gave them early access to RTX Remix, and they're basically remaking Half-Life 2, one of the best games of all time.
That's amazing.
And yeah, this is going to be nuts when it comes out. But also as well, with RTX Remix coming into beta, fast forward to like, months down the track, we're just going to start seeing you're going to start seeing like all these classic PC games just come back.
Saying. Dude, if you give me RTX Jak and Daxter, which is one of the first games I ever played, because Jak is spelled the same way you spell my name. That's why my mum bought it for the PS2. I will cry and take up 30 minutes of the next podcast talking about how good it is.
Yeah, like there'll be so many like games that'll just be like remastered. Like it's going to be really cool.
Dude, all the old BioShock games.
Lighting. Yeah, they were just fully path tracing.
BioShock Infinite? That even got an update.
Fully path traced.
Yeah, fully path traced. Oh. Anyway, we're going to get stuck. We're already over time.
All right, that's my final one.
I just need to quickly mention that. Yeah, I'll close this off, but I just mentioned this grill. That's it.
Yeah, that's what we get.
There's a new AI-powered grill. It cooks any steak in 90 seconds. If you want to learn more...
90 seconds?
90 seconds. 90 seconds. If you want to learn more about it, do you want me to actually go into it?
Yeah, let's spend like what, 2 minutes. Let's close the show.
All right, where is it? World's first AI-infused grill unveiled at CES 2024. Cooks steaks perfectly in just 90 seconds. So this is by a company called Sear Grill. The grill itself is called the Perfecta. It uses AI and sensors to analyze the most efficient way of cooking the food that you've put in it. So basically, if you look at that video, he whacks in the steak, selects medium rare, and that's all that happens. There's sensors inside of it. It burns it tops out at 900 degrees Celsius, and the unit is even capable. Celsius. 1,652 degrees Fahrenheit. The unit is even capable of producing crispy edges thanks to its 360 degree heating. It includes an onboard AI chef that takes the desired cook level and sears into account and calculates the proper cooking time and temp based on what is in there.
Dude,
Sensors within the device detect the thickness of the food to prevent over or undercooking the food based on its size. I was telling my girlfriend about this just before the show, and she goes, well, how does it know? Like, how does it know when the center is done? It's like it literally will calculate how thick the food is. So if you got like a New York strip or a ribeye or something like that and it's an inch thick, it'll know. And it'll know to sear the outside, so it might gun it at 900 degrees Celsius on like right at the start to get that nice sear on the sides. And then it'll use its AI sensors and all of its data to slowly reduce the temperature perfectly to make sure it's medium rare in the middle. Wild.
We should open a steak restaurant with these. The best steaks in Australia.
In the video,
Perfectly cooked.
That would be awesome. In the video, he cooks, I think, a pizza, another steak. What else does he have? He cooks a pizza, a steak, 2 steaks, and something else before the guy even flips the other steak, which is being cooked on a barbecue.
Vertical infrared burners.
I don't know. I don't think you're going to have the same like kind of smoky flavor that
uses
comes.
gas and electricity.
Yeah. I think it might also be a pain in the ass to clean.
This is like it has its own cart. Yeah. So this is, you need a dedicated station for this thing.
Dude, it's 3,500 AUD. 1,000. Oh, you can. It's no, sorry, USD. Sorry, USD.
3,500.
But if you pre-order, you will save 1,000. I don't know how I feel about it. I just thought it was cool that like AI has gone so big that it's now in freaking grills, dude. Grills. Anyway, we should round off this week's episode.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening.
We'll have
next
more
week,
next week.
Next week there will be way more CES coverage. Please go like
and 4070 Super deep dive.
Oh, yep, that as well. We'll definitely get some more. Did you take footage of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Will be in the episode.
Yeah,
yep.
We'll make sure to show that. Please go like, comment, and subscribe. You've been listening to Jack and Kosta, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.